So next up, we're going to have a chat with Oliwia Kotowska, who's one of our software developers at Opencast Software. Hi, Oliwia.
Hello.
Hi. So first and foremost, in non-techie terms, can you summarize what a software developer does?
So a software developer primarily writes code. They write and to some extent test and maintain code, which allows for development of new features that later on create the final product or a service.
Wonderful. And so thinking back to sort of your earlier days, so what initially drew you to the technology industry in the first place?
Working in tech has been appealing for me mostly because this is one of the things that allows you to keep learning and evolving whilst you work, and which keeps things interesting. And I thought it's going to be a job where I won't ever feel like I'm stuck because I can always change and evolve with the job.
Yeah. Okay. And so tell us how that started in terms of your education route and how it actually became a reality, you making that step.
So my course was technical. I studied biomedical engineering, but as you can tell from the name, it didn't directly get me into software development. That came at a later stage because the course I did was so multidisciplinary. It involved both chemistry and physics and electronics and IT. And that's where I discovered I actually enjoyed IT and that I'm being drawn more towards it. But when I started the course, I thought I was gonna do chemistry, so it's kind of shifted.
So what was the route then into your role as a software developer from that place then?
So once I discovered that IT subjects were the ones I enjoyed the most, I just decided to get involved in that and chose to specialize in IT for medicine first and then looked for internships. And I got one with Opencast that later on got me my permanent role.
Lucky us.
Lucky me.
So you finished your studies, so you came to us and then you finished your studies and now you find yourself back with us at Opencast. So talking about being a software developer in our industry, there's a lot of focus and talk around the gender imbalance that we know is rife throughout technology. We know that predominantly software developers in particular are predominantly male. What's been your experience as sort of a minority, being a female, and what do we need to do to try and encourage more women to get into these roles?
So gender imbalance has definitely been visible at all stages. So both at university and later on in the workplace, there is not many female software developers, like you said. But it's never been something that would discourage me or stop me from anything. Because just because there is an imbalance, it doesn't mean that the experience is going to be negative. At least, just speaking from my own experience, I've never encountered sexism at workplace or any sort of my work is being valued just the same as anyone else's. So when it comes to encouragement, I think it's important to have some representation because we are in minority, but that doesn't mean we aren't there and that other women can't succeed in a software developer career.
Yeah, I guess the more it happens and like more examples like you and we get out there talking about it, hopefully that's going to inspire more people to do the same. So what would you say you enjoy the most about being a developer?
I think that this job is just particularly satisfying because you have that final goal in mind and you keep building, and then you see the final product come together.
Yeah.
And also it involves problem solving, and it also encourages you to be creative and to explore things, which is very interesting.
So just on reflection then, so if there's anybody who's sort of watching this who is maybe in a situation where they've committed to study and they don't really like their course, and they are considering this type of career, but it's not the route they've taken, like what kind of advice would you give to somebody in that situation?
I think there are two things to remember. First, if you don't like your course, you can always change it. And we shouldn't, if we know we don't enjoy something, don't feel like you have to do it. You can always change. And the other one is just try things. It's important to not just think about things and get stuck thinking, oh, maybe it's not for me, maybe it is for me. No, just try it. You're not losing anything by trying. And in fact, you're gaining, because even if it turns out it's not for you, at least you know that.
So you're a member of external networks as well, right? So things like Code Girl, and is that a good place for people to sort of explore that sort of thing further?
Yeah, I think so, because you can get loads of advice and what steps you should undertake in order to succeed, or even just get involved into internships or projects. Yeah, it's a great place to start with.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Oliwia. Great to talk to you. So you're going to join us for the Q&A session at the end as well.
Thank
so if
you.
anybody has any questions specifically for Oliwia, then please pop them in the Q&A box.